The hallway froze the moment she moved. 1 second, he was yanking her braids. The next, he was on his knees, gasping, arm locked behind his back. His laughter turned to begging so fast, even his friends went silent. But what happened next will shock even those who thought they'd seen everything. But first, let's go back to the beginning. The hallway pulsed like a living organism, clattering lockers, sneakers squeaking across waxed floors, clusters of voices rising and falling in waves. Beneath the fluorescent hum and adolescent static, Ava Jenkins moved with an almost unnatural stillness. She didn't weave or dodge like the others. She glided. Where chaos rushed, she carved a path of silence, commanding space not by force, but by presence. Her eyes, sharp and measured, tracked everything. Not in fear, not in paranoia, in awareness, as if her instincts had been trained somewhere far less forgiving than a high school hallway. Ava's skin was a rich brown that caught the light like polished earth, and her braids, jet black, precise, pulled back into a no-nonsense twist, spoke not only of style, but discipline. She held her books close to her chest like a shield, or perhaps a silent declaration. I'm here to learn, nothing else. But in places like West Haven, silence isn't respected. It's circled. To Tyler Graves, her silence was an affront. Her refusal to react, to play the game, to acknowledge his existence, it burned. Tyler wasn't used to being invisible. His jokes, his antics, the cheap swagger with which he strutted down these halls, those things usually earned him laughs. He thrived on reactions. And Ava gave him nothing. That was the problem. She didn't laugh when he mimicked teachers, didn't glance up when he slid across desks like a circus act, didn't even seem to see him when he cracked a loud joke about her sitting alone at lunch. So, today, he was going to force it. Tyler spotted her as the bell rang and the hallway morphed into a tide of bodies. His boys were behind him, Dylan, Matt, Ezra, all grinning like wolves waiting for the chase to start. And there she was, Ava, walking with her usual calm, completely unaware, or so he thought. He moved up fast, no hesitation. One hand reached forward, fingers snagging into the roots of her braids like hooks in water. He yanked hard. The sound wasn't loud, not like a slap or a scream, but it rippled. 100 conversations paused mid-sentence. The shriek of a locker being slammed shut seemed to hold its breath. Even the overhead announcements fell silent. Tyler laughed, loud, unapologetic. Yo, I think she left her hair in the 90s. But the hallway didn't laugh with him. Instead, it watched. Because Ava had turned. And something in the air shifted. Something subtle. Electric. A warning. Tyler expected resistance. He wanted it. The tension, the audience, the weight of his boys' eyes waiting for him to prove once again that he was untouchable. It all surged like cheap fuel through his veins. But what he got instead was stillness. Ava didn't flinch, didn't grab for his hand or call for help. She simply looked at him, through him, with a gaze so steady, so stripped of fear or fury, it unsettled him more than any scream could have. There was no pleading in her eyes, no trembling lower lip or dropped gaze. There was silence, precision, calculation. It was the kind of silence predators mistake for submission, right before the world goes wrong. "Let go," she said. Her voice wasn't raised. It didn't ask for anything. It commanded. For a second, Tyler hesitated. Not visibly, not in a way anyone could call out, but deep in that tiny hidden part of himself where instincts live, something flinched. Something whispered, "This isn't going the way you think." But his pride was louder. So he laughed, yanking the braid again, twisting it harder, fingers clenching with performative cruelty. "What? You gonna cry? Gonna run to the office?" His words rang sharp, but they didn't land the way he'd hoped. Around him, the laughter of his friends faltered. Their smirks flickered uncertainly, like cheap neon lights in a rainstorm. Something in the dynamic had shifted. Ava's hand moved slowly, methodically, as she lowered her books to the ground with reverence, as if setting down something sacred. She unzipped her jacket in one fluid motion, the faint rasp of the zipper unnervingly loud in the silence. Rolled her sleeves up, one at a time, like a surgeon prepping for something precise, something irreversible. "Last warning," she said. Her voice hadn't changed, still level, still calm. But that calm no longer felt passive. It felt predatory. Tyler scoffed again, trying to recover the rhythm, trying to grab hold of the moment before it slid fully out of his hands. He squeezed her braid tighter, yanked again, harder this time, like a child tugging on a grenade pin he doesn't believe is real. And then she moved. Not fast, not reckless, deliberate, exact, like someone who'd waited long enough, like someone who never doubted the outcome. And Tyler? He realized, too late, that the silence he had mistaken for weakness was warning. There was no wind-up, no dramatic flourish, just the ruthless clarity of movement born from instinct, training, and control. Ava's hand shot up, fingers closing like steel around Tyler's wrist. Her grip was anatomical, cold, precise, like she knew exactly where to press, where to twist. The sickening torque of cartilage sent a sharp pop into the air, and Tyler's mouth opened before his brain caught up. A breathless yelp escaped, cracked down the hallway like chalk breaking on pavement. She stepped back, not fleeing, not retreating, but pivoting with practiced efficiency, and brought him down with her. Tyler's knees smacked the tile, loud and graceless. His arm was bent high behind him now, locked at a cruel angle that froze his spine in place. He wasn't just kneeling. He was trapped. Gasps rippled through the crowd, sharp and immediate. It wasn't just that Ava had retaliated, it was how effortless it looked. No flailing, no rage. She had moved like she'd done this before. Tyler's breath hitched. His bravado drained in real time, seeping out of him like color from his face. He tried to turn his head, but couldn't. Couldn't even breathe right. The crowd, his own crowd, had turned into silent witnesses. No one stepped in. Not Dylan, not Ezra. Their faces were blank, mouths open, hands limp by their sides like they'd just seen gravity lie. And then Ava leaned in. Her mouth was barely an inch from his ear, her voice low and razor sharp. "You ever touch me again?" she whispered, each syllable a scalpel. "I won't stop at your wrist." No shout, no growl, just truth. Tyler's response was immediate and unfiltered. "I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Let go, please, please." His words spilled out in rapid bursts, desperation shredding whatever image he had left. Gone was the smirking jester, the swaggering showman. In his place, a boy unmade by consequences. The sound of rushed footsteps cut through the tension as two teachers broke through the ring of students. Ava heard their voices, urgent, authoritative, but didn't react until the precise moment she chose to. Only then did she let go. Tyler crumpled onto the floor, not like someone dropped, but like someone discarded. He lay there, gasping, his face ghost white, hands limp, chest heaving with the shock of power reversed. Ava stood, smoothed her sleeves, bent to collect her books. No fanfare, no words, just the calm reassertion of dignity. And with that, she turned, and walked through the parted sea of students like a storm passing after the sky has split open. It spread like wildfire, pixelated, shaky, recorded in portrait mode with a nervous thumb in the corner, but none of that dulled its impact. By the time the lunch bell rang, Ava Jenkins was no longer the quiet girl with the neat braids and unreadable eyes. She was the girl who folded Tyler Graves in under 5 seconds and walked away like nothing had happened. The video had no title, no tags, no need for explanation. It spoke for itself. Phones were passed hand to hand like artifacts. Freshmen who had never dared speak to upperclassmen were now leaning in, whispering, "Did you see her face? She didn't even blink." By 5th period, it wasn't just a story. It was legend, and legends change things. The halls of West Haven High, once noisy and indifferent to Ava's passing, began to bend around her. Conversations slowed when she approached. Not out of fear, not quite, but with the weighted hush that accompanies someone you don't know how to read. Girls who used to giggle behind her back now shifted awkwardly when she passed. Boys who once tried to block her path in jest gave her a wider berth. Even the teachers, especially the ones who had once brushed her off or confused her with other students, seemed different. Mr. Carmichael, who used to barely glance up from his desk when she entered, now greeted her with an almost formal nod. Mrs. Rayner in the cafeteria made sure her lunch was fresh, warm, and correct every time. No one said her name out loud. They didn't have to. As for Tyler, he vanished. His locker was emptied, his name removed from the upcoming debate team list. Whispers filled in the blanks: suspension, parental intervention, maybe even an early transfer. But what lingered wasn't his absence. It was the silence left in his wake. No one missed him, not even his friends, especially not them. Ava, for her part, remained unchanged. No social media flex, no repost, no smirk. She kept her stride even, her head high, her eyes forward. If she noticed the ripple she'd caused, she gave no indication. She just walked, same route, same rhythm, same unreadable calm. But now, lockers opened a beat slower as she passed. Crowds shifted before she arrived. She didn't part the hallway. It parted for her. Because some power doesn't shout, it doesn't posture, it simply exists, and teaches you the cost of underestimating it once.